All right. Yes, we're continuing in the mimer in Tavshin Beit of Chaviv Adam Shenivra B'Tselem, that man is dear because he was created in the image of God. Says the Rebbe that this refers to every human being. Every human being is created in the image of God, Jew and non-Jew, and they are created in the image of God, and therefore they are dear to God. But the Jewish people have a little bit of a different endearment to God than everybody else. And that's what it says, everyone is dear. What's the dearness of human beings? What does it mean they're created in the image of God? That people, human beings, have what's called a nefesh sichlit, have an intellectual soul. This intellectual soul means the ability to think, the ability to make decisions. Simply put, free choice, the power of free choice. The power to choose between two things. Animals do not have this. Animals instinctively, they're ruled by their instinct. But a human being can also be ruled by his instinct, but that's if he doesn't use his mind. If he uses his mind properly, then he won't be instinct. Oh, יופי, תודה. ומה עם מפתח?
הנה, אתה הולך לשבי או נשאר מפתח?
טוב, תודה. תודה. מה עם דלת? Okay, ready? The difference between Jewish intellect and non-Jewish intellect. What's the difference? Yuven Zeb, Oven Tive. That's right. Okay, here we go. Atam Goran. Sha'nefesh HaSichlit. First word on the line is Shibi Yisrael. Shibi Yisrael. The Nefesh HaSichlit, the intellectual soul. Shibi Yisrael, and of the Jewish people. Where's the Shibi Yisrael? Here. Shibi Yisrael, of the Jewish people. He is Ba'ofen Acher. He is in a different way. Mi'anefesh HaSichlis, than the intellectual soul. Shebechlalot min anoshi, of all humanity. Jews have a different way of looking at the world than non-Jews. Why? How? The Yuv and Zed will be understood. Me'ofeni tive kochot hanefesh, from the ways of the what do you want to call it? The nature of the soul. The tive b'nei adam, that the nature of a human being. Hari onu roim, we see muchash clearly. Shehem chalukim zeh mizeh. The people are different one from the other. Hein b'seichel umidot, hein b'chushei hanefesh. Whether we see that people are different, whether in their intellect, in their emotions. There's some people who are more calm, more agitated, more this. Hein b'chushei hanefesh. There's some people, they have a better ability at mathematics. Some people are more artistic. Some people. Hainu delozu bilavad, that not only she'en deoteim v'midoteim shavot, not only are all humans, every human is different from every other human. Be'etzem mehuto, in their essence, shezeh me'ula mizeh, v'zeh gerua mizeh. Some people have better talents in one way, and some people have worse talents in the same way. In another way, people have good abilities, and some people are more are loving, and some people are more caring, and some people are more angry. Ella odzos, but even more shame chalukim ba'ofene tivon midotom. Not only are there some people that are more angry, but there's all sorts of different types, levels of anger. What makes the person angry, but how they express it. V'tive deoteon, and their intellect. Right? Some people can be very intellectual people, but when it comes down to really analyzing things, they're very crass. Very crass. For instance, just take an example. In Germany, when all the professors came out and they said that German race is superior, etc., right? Why wasn't anybody that said, this is going to mean we're going to kill people? None of the professors protested. If they did, they were probably killed. But the majority of them, the 99 whatever percent, they embraced the Nazi ideals with great gusto. With great. So what do we see? That sometimes a person can be very intellectual, and it works only, let's say, in mechanical things. Maybe intellectual, it works only in theoretical things. But when it comes to actual physical, care, and that doesn't work. The elu hein ofen sichlom hu zach v'dach. There are some people whose mind is very clear. Heine de bekol svora sichlit, that in any idea that they hear, hine milvad charifot haskala, in addition to just the sharpness of their minds, the otzam malasam, not in the tremendous, how do you say, advantage, professors, high intellectual people, hari nirgash bo hafla ruchnit, but you can feel in it some sort of a spiritual feeling, v'dakot anikra edelkeit, a thing which is called fineness, refinement. Sometimes people can have ideas, very wonderful ideas, but you see that the ideas are purely ideas. They're not human. There's no feeling of humanness in the idea. It doesn't become refined ideas. V'kein be'inyan hamidos, and also it is in the emotions. I think I said this before, but when they were working on the Manhattan Project in America to make the atom bomb, so they got all these great physicists, all of them that were in America, they got them all together, and they were all working, each one was working on a different place. And I was very surprised. I read that there were certain, all these were great physicists, that they wouldn't have been brought by the government if they weren't. But there were certain ones that were like, when they would come into the room, everybody would be afraid. There was one, Enrico Fermi. He was like supposed to be one of the greatest of the greatest. And Albert Einstein was like at the same level or higher, whatever. But anyway, they were ranked according to their intellectual abilities. Now, all of them put equal amounts of time into thinking about these ideas, and they all went over the same ideas. I mean, they were all, but nevertheless, there were certain ones that their minds were more refined, they were deeper, they were sharper, they were higher, they could feel deeper ideas. So it is in everything. Hari etzem tive midos hem ba'ofen dak v'noam. But there are some people that that their way that they think is more human. It's not cold and they say mechanical. Alla zer midos seinen sehr edel. The person is what's called very refined, sensitive. V'yeshnam ke'elu asher ofen sichlom midotam im yotam maskilim gedolim. There are certain people that even though that they might be very, very intelligent, ubalis foros charifos, and they have tremendously deep ideas, avol chasr lehem oto adakot, but there's missing to them this refinement, bahafla ruchnit, and spiritual. How do you say? What's the word for it? And spiritual excellence. Excellence. The ideas, you feel that all the ideas that they have, it makes no difference to them whether they're talking about a machine or they're talking about a human being. Makes no difference whatsoever. Hainu, de'im hiyotam svora charifa, even though that it is a very sharp ideas, people have genius minds, vaskala amuka, and very deep minds, avalhi avavagasa. Nevertheless, the ideas that they have are thick and that they are very crass in their minds. Hanikra magusham dik grub, which is called very, you say, materialistic and thick ideas. V'chein binyan amidos, and also we see that there are different people in their emotions. Maybe we can call it, if you want to call it, egotistical. Also in emotions. Hagam she'en bali midos tovos. There are some people that even though that they know how to act nice, of a bo ba'ofen v'gam gas. I see. Oh God, I'm sorry. I did gas v'dak, but they come in a very thick and a crass way. He's nice to people, but the way he's truly nice, but the way he does it is not nice. His attitude toward others is not nice. He considers himself to be superior. They say the famous thing they say with Mother Teresa. Mother Teresa was she was lauded over the whole world about her tremendous self-sacrifice and this, but she's quoted a lot of times by saying that she loves to see the suffering of these people, how these people suffer. They suffer for godliness, human suffering. She loves human suffering. She loves to see people that they exist in the world and that they suffer, and that gives her a chance that she can help them. But it's not that she would love to alleviate suffering. She loves to see suffer. That's what she said. And right. And they wanted to take away prizes from her and all sorts of things, and they said that she's not so great. It didn't really help because that's the best that they could find. I think they couldn't find anybody better. But another, she loves to see suffering, like a doctor. She loves to see, which is Dr. Mengele, Yamach Shamo, that he was a great doctor, a fantastic doctor. He said, but he just loved to see people suffer. He loved sickness. He knew all the points of pain and all of this, the terrible things he did. You read just 2 or 3 lines of it, mind goes up. And he was a good doctor. He was a fantastic doctor. He knew he would tie people down to the table. He knew exactly where the pancreas was. He would cut the person when he was alive, take out his pancreas, put it in a bottle. He knew exactly a sadistic person, but his mind was very great. He had a very great mind. In those days, Germany was, that was Germany. For instance, Albert Einstein, when he made the atomic bomb, he was had tremendous regrets. The power that he unleashed, that he was going to kill people with it, and he didn't know if he should, if it was a bad thing he did, a good thing he did. And they say that in the end, when we realized that all the death and suffering, that it stopped because the Japanese just would not have given up. They would not have given up. That sort of calmed him down. But nevertheless, there was always the human side. We'll see. V'chein binyan amidos. We see the way that's what Hine gam hu ha'hefresh ben ha'nefesh ha'sichlis b'min ha'noshi v'bechlol u'b'seir nefesh ha'sichlis n'neshama s'yisrael b'frad. This is the difference between the intellect of mankind in general and the intellect of the Jews especially. What's the difference? That the intellect of Jews, who ba'ofen acher lagamri, is in a totally different way. Hainu. Now we have to keep in mind all the time that the Rebbe is always pointing out that God loves the non-Jews and they are dear to him and they are made in his image. But nevertheless, the Jews are different. How so? Hainu shenirgash bo hafla ruchnis. A Jew somehow or other feels in his soul the wondrousness, the miraculousness of spiritual. Every Jew feels how miraculous and how necessary is the spiritual world. Every Jew. There are non-Jews that are very spiritual people, it's true. And there are known, I read a lot of books before I was religious. There were all these orders and groups of people that they have astral projection and they do all this stuff in the upper worlds. They are very spiritual people. But they are not godly people. Every Jew is a godly person. Every Jew worries him, bothers him, the idea of what is God. Every Jew. And even if the person doesn't even know he's a Jew, somehow or other something bothers him inside. In fehlt sich a ruchnistige Edelkeit. In a Jew, there's also always a spiritual refinement. Hagam is doch seichel, and even though that it is intellect, enushi betivo, even though that he is dealing with intellectual things in his nature, doch hat a klep zu ruchnistige Edelkeit. Nevertheless, it always somehow or other there's a spiritual feeling. Something there is telling him that there's something deeper to the world than what meets the eye. Lochein hine a nefesh sichlik to Israel. Therefore, the intellectual soul of a Jew, who memutza is a connector, bein nefesh elokit v'nefesh abamid. Let me close this window, please. All right, now the Rebbe is going to go into a very, very deep point. What is the point of this intellectual soul? The intellectual in man, the point of the intellectual soul is to make him a better man, that he can improve himself, to connect him with truth, to connect him with what works, right? To connect him with his humanity, to improve the world, to make the world a better place, to find solutions to problems. That's what the intellect of all man is. What's the intellect of a Jew? The intellect of a Jew is to connect him with God. By a non-Jew, God is something really out of the world. Nothing to do with the world. God is something that, is outside you. You connect after you die. Once in a while he makes miracles, you hope. By a Jew, God is necessary in everything. Everything. And this bothers the Jews. This bothers them tremendously. They feel it. They feel godliness. You find Jews that are vehemently atheistic. Very rare do you find the Jew that he just take it or leave it. There are people like that. Take it or leave it. Torah, commandments, Judaism, I'm not interested. Right? Would you like to put on tefillin? Okay, I'll put on. I won't. It doesn't make any difference. I'll do it. I won't do it. If he likes you, I'll put on tefillin. It doesn't. He'll invite to come to Shabbat. It doesn't. That's rare. There are people like that.
Don't the Goyim though? The Christians seem to be obsessed with thinking about their guy. The Muslims, they think about their guy.
There's what we call a religious feeling. The religious feeling doesn't necessarily come from spirituality. A religious feeling also comes from necessity. Here, everybody knows you're going to die. When a person dies, what happens to him? I don't know. He just sort of evaporates, becomes nothing, right? Right? How do you say to be or not to be? That is the question, right? That's what I think that whole thing was talking about. When a person dies, does he exist? It doesn't exist. To sleep, perchance to dream. Maybe we're just going to sleep. Maybe we'll have dreams. Everybody knows that your life is going to come to an end. That sort of wrecks the whole.
They think they're going to heaven.
Oh, so there we go. So there are two answers to this. There's two answers to this problem of what's going to happen when we die. Everybody's going to die. You're going to die. You can look in the mirror. I'm not going to be there one day. I'll look there and there's not going to be anything there. But what's going to be? So if there's two answers, don't worry about it. That's one answer. Don't think about it. Just whatever you want to do, just do. Or maybe, build a building or leave something for the next generation. Or, have a good time now, or get depressed, whatever it is. But that's it. There's no, it's just an end. The other one is there's something afterwards. There's something after. To be or not to be, right? Am I going to be or am I not going to be after I die? What's going to be? So all of a sudden pops up all sorts of preachers and teachers and this mystics, and they say, you don't know what's going to happen. You want to know what's going to happen? Do you know what's going to happen after you die? No, I know. You really know? Yes, I do. Are you joking? This is no joke. No joke. You want to know what's going to happen after you die? Come to this, there's a lecture, 8 o'clock this evening, at such and such a place, end of message. Well, what are you going to teach us? Right? You want to know the truth? Yes. So a guy says, what do you think, it's real? So they go and they say, you are going to die. I have messages from the other world that have come. They've said, thank you, great master. You have shown me the way. Everybody did not believe in you. I looked through there's this hole down with a window in it. They look down in hell and they're all burning down there. And we that have believed in you, we are happy. You want to be happy? Everybody's saying, yeah. Want to burn in hell? So just do what I say, you'll be happy. Okay. That's it. And so they get happy. And so this is the way, you must believe in this. So this guy believes in the frog, and this guy believes in a dog, and this guy believes in a person, this guy believes in this, and this guy believes in the Son of God, and the Spirit of God, and the Ghost of God, and this and that. Right? Because they were worried about what's going to happen after you die. And so that's basic. Then there's also other forms of that. You're worried about what's going to happen tomorrow, what's going to happen the next minute. Who knows what it's going to be, right? You could be sitting in the Twin Towers and all of a sudden a plane comes in and crashes in. You don't know what's going to be. You want to be one of those people sitting in the Twin Towers? No. You want to be one of those people here in church with us? Yeah, so stay in church. What do you got to go this thing?
Stay off the dark, they're telling him.
Right. So what? So it's nature. It's nature. People have a spiritual side to them. They know that there's something is keeping them alive. Something is churning over there.
Rabbi, is this related to the idea if someone asks you to bow down an idol, you die, is supposed to die? Is this related to that? Or
is what? Somebody?
Like, let's say if somebody puts a gun to my head,
right,
and say bow down to idol, I'll die. I'll choose to die than bow down to the idol. Is this related to that?
That's what you're supposed to do, yes.
Is what you're saying related to that?
Something. Here we're talking about different motivations for religion in general.
Is it connected to that idea?
A little bit, yeah. But the intellectual soul of a Jew is thinking about God, yeah. Has a spiritual feeling to it. It has a spiritual feeling to it.
It seems as though
Just one more thing. This spiritual feeling, that is what the Mashiach is going to waken up in every Jew, because it's already there. It's already there. Every Jew feels that there's a creator, is sure that there's a creator that cares about him. I mean, if you think about it, I want to hear your question, but that's a big thing about science. What does science say? Science says, I don't think it even says that anymore, but science says that man is not made in the image of God. There's no such thing as God. Man is just here. You're just here. Right? So if so, what is man basically? Man is like the same thing as a rock. It's basically as a rock. It's just a creation. It's just a different type of creation. But, if you step on a rock, you feel bad? No. You kill a person, you feel bad? No, you can't do that. Well, the Germans, they didn't feel bad. They didn't feel bad when they killed people.
That's why they went to jail.
No, they didn't go to any jail either. They just killed people. Why did they do it? Because they thought people are just here. You're just here. Like a rock is here, and a plant is here, and an animal is here. And if it benefits you, then it's okay. But if not, then I saw once this interview that they made with one of these mafia hitmen, that they caught him anyway. They put him in jail. He must have been in a state where there's no death penalty. And he came with a mask over his face, and they asked him how many people he killed. He said how many. So he said, but did you ever enjoy killing people? He said, no, it's just my job. One time I enjoyed it. He said there was 2 people that came looking for me, and they beat up my wife, and she miscarried. And I found them, and then I tortured them, and I killed them. He said, I really enjoyed that. He said, why did you enjoy that? He said, because they hurt my wife. He said, but don't you realize you also hurt a lot of people? You also hurt a lot of people. He said, I didn't know those people. It didn't mean anything to me. Right? So you can tell that, And then there was other times where he said that there was people that he did know, but he didn't want to kill them. He was given a contract. He said he didn't want to kill them because he knew them, but he didn't warn them. It was just there was a contract out for him, but he didn't. So it's just a way of looking at people like they're rocks. In other words, they're just items. They're just things that exist. So they're moving rocks, and they're rocks with a different type of rock, that he can think. But it's basically, if you think that man is made in the image of God, what does it mean, the image of God? It means that man is made with a purpose. God made people with a purpose, with a meaning. There's meaning to life. God made people with a purpose. It means that we're made in the image of God. We also have purpose. We also have a meaning. We want to make meaning in life, just like God made us for a meaning, for a reason. He didn't just make us because, he spit or something like that, and all of a sudden people came out. Man is made with tremendous intention. Every limb, every eye,
Didn't he do the Big Bang Theory? Like he created that black hole?
Who said there's a black hole? There's
But God created the black hole.
No black hole.
But didn't God create it?
It doesn't exist.
But God created it if it exists. Then how Cosbrook will do it?
Yes. So here we're saying that every man is being created constantly in the image of God. It's not just that God created the first man, and from that just popped out all these other people. Every person is being created constantly in the image of God by God. What does it mean, being created? That God is creating it with a purpose. Therefore, every person also has a purpose. That's why people search for meaning in life, because people feel there must be some sort of purpose. But only the Jews really feel this. That's the difference between the Jews and the non-Jews. Only Jews really feel that there's a godly purpose in everything. But most Jews are not aware of this feeling. Most Jews have not connected to this feeling, or they cannot identify it. It's like a deaf person that's a genius in music, but he never heard music before. Never heard the harmony.
What will Mashiach wake up this thought pattern in the Gentiles though?
The way it's supposed to work, as far as I understand it, is that when the Gentiles see the Jews, then the Gentiles will change their way of thinking, to change the way of acting.
But
Well-
still, it won't be in such an internal thing like it is.
It won't be in such an eternal way as the Jews are. They won't love God with all of their heart, with all of their might, with all of their soul,
They can't.
right? It won't be that same, and they're not expected to. That's not necessary. The non-Jews will be good people, caring people, intellectual people, wonderful people, productive people. They'll make the world into a good place. They'll make the world into a human place, a meaningful place. But the Jews will make the world into a godly place. That's supposed to be the idea. And that comes from the intellectual soul of the Jew, which we'll talk about more, God willing, tomorrow.